bad at recording and keeping track of things just because I've been so busy practicing, which is a good thing. So right now I am just in the practice room warming up. I have an hour before I'm going to go in with the orchestra and rehearse. And so this will be the second rehearsal I have with the orchestra. Pretty much I'll only have like 3 rehearsals with the orchestra until we actually perform. So that's kind of a lot shorter of a time than I expected because it's my first time ever doing it. I don't know if that's normal.
And a 2E and a 3E and a 4E.
I look a little crazy right now, but I just finished my shower. So today is my concerto concert. I skipped my first class because I was so tired. I couldn't wake up, and so I didn't wake up. I slept through my alarm. My concert's later tonight, and I want to do things that help me feel really confident, and one of that is just like having nice hair. I recently got my hair cut. My hair's a little shorter right now. I look so funny with my hair. I like to keep my routine quite simple, but while I'm doing this, I'm gonna talk about concerto, how I did that, tips I might have to multitask, you know. I'm playing the Debussy dances at my university. Every year they have a concerto competition. I competed against every other freshman and sophomore musician at my school. So it wasn't like an instrument focused competition, it's like all instruments. And then we had the first round. Obviously I passed that first round, and then there was the finalist round. In the first round I competed along with the violins and cellos. Piano had their own division, the brass had their own divisions. I think there was like maybe 20 other violins, cellists. I was the only harpist. Out of those like 20 people, 3 people made it, so me and then a violinist and a cellist. And then we had a finalist round where they gathered all of the finalists from each of the sections, and I think that had 20 musicians. Out of that, 26 people made it, and I was one of the 6. There was no ranking in this competition, it's just you are a winner. So then they put together this program, and that's what we're playing tonight. And so I'm first on the program, which is pretty nice because that means that I get to perform and then peacefully listen to everyone else play and not be stressed about my own performance. It's kind of cold while I'm walking. I'm going to talk more about how I prepared. First, I got a good accompanist. Yeah, I highly recommend you just get a good one, especially an accompanist who knows how to play the style you're playing. Like for example, Debussy. The way you play Debussy is a lot different from the way you'd be playing like Mozart or something, you know? So make sure you have a good accompanist who can like do these different styles. So we just worked together. We pretty much just like met once a week, a month before the actual competition. Next, try to perform it for as many people as I could. I got used to performing it, especially with the pianist. Since I wasn't practicing with him every single day, a lot of it was like working on it myself. Every time I met with my pianist, the last 10 minutes, we'd grab a friend or some random person and ask them to come listen and give us feedback on how our balance was, because I had to work on my balance with the piano. So your accompanist should be balancing you as a soloist, but also you as a soloist need to make sure that you are balancing the accompanist, because if you're just too quiet, there's only so much a piano can do. Another thing that really helps is giving cues to your accompanist. Being able to cue in your pianist so that you know you're together. It looks really good in the audition. So me and my accompanist found the tricky spots, so I would practice cueing to make sure that I could comfortably give a cue that was understandable. The Debussy dances has a lot of like accelerandos and ritardandos, and so we had to like really work on making sure that those were together. I feel like as harpists, not very often that we play with an accompanist, it can feel a little unnatural and hard. I'm getting like some direct sunlight in my eyes. Also check the tuning for harp. The pianos at my university are tuned to 440. The harps are tuned to 443 because the orchestra is tuned to 442, and so we always have to be a little sharper. Leading up to the audition, the harp I was going to use, I made sure to tune that to 441 so it had time to adjust, and that way I wasn't like crazy sharp compared to the piano. Make sure you know what your accompanist is tuning to, because the piano can't just magically change its tuning. That's kind of your job. And of course the final one is just like accuracy. It's okay to make a few note mistakes, but like when you make a mistake, is it like jarring? So that's what I did leading up to the actual prep of the audition. When I auditioned, I just wore all black. It's safe, it looks clean, it looks professional. I think it's weird to show up to an audition in a sparkly dress. Honestly, I think the biggest thing that helps me in auditions though is just remembering why I'm auditioning. Debussy dances is something that I've always dreamed since I was like literally like 14 to play. And so when I was nervous, I was like, you know what, this is what I want to do. I'm choosing to be here. And that kind of helps me like be more excited rather than a nervous wreck. I'm just walking to my next class now, and I have a little burrito in my bag to eat. As my brunch, I had toast this morning. I just finished some classes. I have a rehearsal with the symphony, a dress rehearsal at 1. I'm gonna have my fiance record it. This is the harp that I'm gonna use in Lion and Healy 11. So I'm gonna practice on this warm up for the next hour, and then I'm gonna go to the dress rehearsal, and then I'm gonna go home and just start getting ready. I was gonna practice a ton today, but I decided against that, just so I don't like tire myself out, because I've been pretty fatigued recently. I don't feel the need to cram any practice in right now. My mother-in-law gifted me this. It's a necklace with a hook, so I can hook my ring, because I can't play harp with a ring on. Oh. And then you just slide the ring in and you close it. So that way I don't lose my ring and I can perform with my ring on stage. I'm just gonna start with my warm-ups. It gets so hot in the practice room. We have these like fans on the ground here, and I kind of like turn it to like base. The air just kind of like comes here and I can feel it right here and it gets my hands. And so that is how I kind of stay cool when I'm practicing, because these practice rooms get absurdly hot. My fiance is taking a nap right now, so I'm trying to be quiet. All right, I'm gonna start. Advice number 1 is before you meet with the orchestra, send the conductor the estimated tempos that you play at so that they can know how fast or slow to practice. If there's like cuts to what you're playing, be like, okay, I don't play this section, take that out. That way when you meet together, it's a lot easier to put together. Advice number 2, find out what the orchestra tunes to and make sure you tune accordingly. For a harp, I would suggest always tuning a little sharper. While the orchestra here is at 442, and so I'm tuning to 443. Keep in mind that you are the soloist. You don't want to like go too far into the soloist world to where you like do whatever you want. You want to be pretty consistent in how you play it, so that way the conductor can anticipate each time. So like if you like slow down at one spot, always slow down the exact same way. The rehearsal room that we had was pretty small. So soloist, you're going to be sitting up front with the conductor, but there's no room for us to practice like that. And so actually I was in the back of the orchestra. I talked to the conductor and we were able to arrange a little walkway for me to like get the harp up at least closer to him. I still wasn't next to him. Thankfully during the dress rehearsal today, I was able to rehearse where I'm actually going to be performing, so it worked out. It's not the end of the world if you can't sit where you're gonna be performing during rehearsals, but if that's something that like would throw you off, I would highly recommend fighting for your rights and sitting where you're supposed to sit. I would recommend recording every rehearsal just so you can go back and listen, just so you as the performer know what it's gonna sound like. So at least for me, I get a lot of anxiety not knowing how it sounds. It helps calm me down to know what the audience is experiencing, since I can't experience that as a performer. My hair before. It's pretty. And it looks nice and it looks modest, but I think it's like great. I got the harp, and so now I'm gonna practice before the concert tonight. I'm gonna show y'all a little hack. So underneath all of this, I have a slip right here. I have safety pins. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find where my knee is, where it like meets with the slip, and safety pin the slip to my dress. And the reason for doing that is that it helps keep the dress from like riding up as I perform, if that makes sense. I just safety pin it through here, and so when I'm like leaving the dress down, you can hardly tell it's safety pinned, but when I play it'll be pulled up is the idea. I have another safety pin. Okay, so now there's a little ruffle in the front, which is kind of weird actually. I'm gonna fix that. Well, you can't really tell, but they're safety pins. So I'm gonna sit down, and so you see how the slip pulls the skirt up so it's no longer at my feet, and it's kind of pretty. It drapes like that. Okay, getting nerves. The only time that I can be a little self-centered and say, you know what, I'm the best. There's a reason why I won. I deserve to be on that stage. I just keep telling myself that. Okay, so I finished performing and I'm really proud of myself. After intermission, I went and watched some of my friends perform. Now it's the final performance, and after that, I'm gonna go on and do the final bow.